Manchester is the largest city in the U.S. state of New Hampshire, the 10th largest city in New England, and the largest city in northern New England, an area comprising the states of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. It was first named by the merchant and inventor Samuel Blodgett. Blodgett's vision was to create a great industrial centre similar to that of Manchester in England, which was the world's first industrialized city. It is located in Hillsborough County along the banks of the Merrimack River, which divides the city into eastern and western sections. Manchester is near the northern end of the northeast megalopolis. As of the 2010 census, the city had a population of 109,565, and its 2014 population estimate was 110,448. As of the 2014 population estimate, Manchester is the largest New England city north of Boston, including other Massachusetts cities. The Manchester-Nashua metropolitan area, with an estimated population in 2014 of 405,184, is home to nearly one-third of the population of New Hampshire. Manchester often appears favorably in lists ranking the affordability and livability of American cities. In 2009, CNNMoney.com rated Manchester 13th in a list of the 100 best cities to live and launch a business in the United States. In addition, Kiplinger voted Manchester the second most tax-friendly city in the United States, second only to Anchorage, Alaska. Also in 2009, Forbes magazine ranked the Manchester region first on its list of America's 100 cheapest places to live, according to the Equality of Opportunity Project. Released in 2013, Manchester ranked as the 7th best metropolitan area in terms of upward income mobility in the United States. History. Pennacook Indians called it Amoskeag, meaning good fishing place, a reference to the Amoskeag Falls in the Merrimack River. In 1722, John Guthrie settled beside Cohas Brook, later building a dam and sawmill at what was dubbed Old Harry's Town. It was granted by Massachusetts in 1727 as Kingstown to veterans of Queen Anne's War who served in 1703 under Captain William Ting. But at New Hampshire's 1741 separation from Massachusetts, the grant was ruled invalid and substituted with Wilton, Maine. So Governor Benning Wentworth recharted the town in 1751 as Derryfield. Derryfield remains a neighborhood in contemporary Manchester, along its easternmost area adjacent to Massapequa Lake. In 1807, Samuel Blodgett opened a canal and lock system to allow vessels passage around the falls. He envisioned here a great industrial center, the Manchester of America, like the Industrial Revolution's Manchester in England, the first industrialized city in the world. In 1809, Benjamin Pritchard and others built a cotton spinning mill operated by water power on the western bank of the Merrimack. Following Blodgett's suggestion, Derryfield was renamed Manchester in 1810, the year the mill was incorporated as the Amoskeag Cotton and Woolen Manufacturing Company. It would be purchased in 1825 by entrepreneurs from Massachusetts, expanded to 3 mills in 1826, and then incorporated in 1831 as the Amoskeag Manufacturing Company. On the eastern bank, Amoskeag engineers and architects planned a model company town, founded in 1838 with Elm Street as its main thoroughfare. Incorporated as a city in 1846, Manchester would become home to the largest cotton mill in the world, Mill No. 11, stretching 900 feet long by 103 feet wide, and containing 4,000 looms. Other products made in the community included shoes, cigars, and paper. The Amoskeag Foundry made rifles, sewing machines, textile machinery, fire engines, and locomotives in a division called the Amoskeag Locomotive Works. The rapid growth of the mills demanded a large influx of workers, resulting in a flood of immigrants, particularly French Canadians. Many current residents descend from these workers. The Amoskeag Manufacturing Company went out of business in 1935, although its red brick mills have been renovated for other uses. Indeed, the mill town's 19th-century affluence left behind some of the finest Victorian commercial, municipal, and residential architecture in the state. Manchester is nicknamed the Queen City, as well as the more recently coined Manch Vegas. In 1998, Manchester was named the #1 small city in the East by Money magazine. The Mall of New Hampshire, on Manchester's southern fringe near the intersection of Interstates 93 and 293, is the city's main retail center. In 2001, the Verizon Wireless Arena, a venue seating more than 10,000, opened for major concerts and sporting events, enhancing the city's downtown revitalization efforts, with a major hotel and convention center already in place directly across the street from the arena. Geography. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 35.0 square miles, of which 33.1 square miles is land and 1.9 square miles is water, comprising 5.33% of the city. Manchester is drained by the Merrimack River, the Piscataqua River and Cohas Brook. Massabesic Lake is on the eastern border. The highest point in Manchester is atop Wellington Hill, where the elevation reaches 570 feet above sea level. Neighborhoods. The Manchester Planning Board, in its 2010 master plan, defines 25 neighborhoods within the city. Liverpool has drawn maps of the neighborhoods, and neighborhood village centers is defined by the city. Recognition of particular neighborhoods varies, with some having neighborhood associations, but none have any legal or political authority. The major neighborhoods, historically, include Amoskeag, Rimmon Heights, Notre Dame, McGregorville and Piscataqua. Granite Square, also known as Piscat, on the west side, and the north end, Janeville, Corey Square, Hullsville and Bakersville on the east side, along with Youngsville and Gophers Falls on the periphery of the city. In 2007, the city began a neighborhood initiatives program to ensure that our neighborhoods are vibrant, livable areas, since these are the portions of the city where most of the residents spend their time living, playing, shopping and going to school. The purpose of this initiative is to foster vibrancy and redevelopment in the neighborhoods, and to restore the sense of neighborhood communities that had been overlooked in the city for some time. The city began the program with streetscape and infrastructure improvements in the Rimmon Heights neighborhood of the West Side, which has spurred growth and investment in and by the community. Despite the success of the program in Rimmon Heights, it was unclear in recent years how the city planned to implement similar programs throughout the city. The city announced plans for extending the Neighborhood Initiatives program to the Hollow neighborhood in February 2012. Surrounding urban neighborhoods. The urban core of Manchester extends beyond its city limits in several directions, particularly west and south of downtown, including Pinardville, in the town of Goffstown. Pinardville is a fairly dense, former streetcar suburb along Mast Road to the west of Manchester. It is home to St. Anselm College. River Corridor, in the town of Bedford. The River Corridor is a mid-density, primarily shopping district along South River Road, about 2.5 miles from downtown Manchester. The area has recently implemented tax increment financing to improve and maintain infrastructure, and the town of Bedford's most recent master plan has called for increasing mixed-use development and promoting walkability and transit use. Though the Manchester Transit Authority bus service in the area was recently curtailed following a decision by the town of Bedford to discontinue funding service. Northeast Bedford. The northeast section of Bedford is a mainly low to mid-density suburban residential area near the terminus of the former Street Joseph streetcar line along Donald Street and post-war development along Boynton Street, with some businesses scattered throughout. The area does not have a formal name, but the section along Boynton Street has variously been called the Plains and the Pines. The northern area is more rural with large portions owned by St. Anselm College. South Hooksett. The southeastern portion of the town of Hooksett is a sprawling, suburban shopping area north of Manchester. Manchester-Boston Regional Airport near the city's southeastern corner, and the surrounding industrial areas extend into neighbouring Londonderry. Climate. Manchester has a four-season humid continental climate, with long, cold, snowy winters, and very warm and somewhat humid summers. Spring and fall in between are crisp and relatively brief transitions. The monthly daily average temperature ranges from 24.4 degrees Fahrenheit in January to 72.5 degrees Fahrenheit in July. On average, there are 11 days of 90 degrees Fahrenheit plus highs and 2.9 days of sub-0 degrees Fahrenheit lows. Precipitation is well spread throughout the year, though winter is the driest while March tends to be the wettest. Snowfall, the heaviest of which is typically delivered through nor'easters, averages around 47 inches per season, but varies widely from year to year. Demographics. Manchester's population at the 2010 census was 109,565. The city is the center of the Manchester, New Hampshire, New England city and town metropolitan area, which had a population of 187,596 as of the 2010 census. As of the census of 2010, there were 109,565 people, 45,766 households, and 26,066 families residing in the city. The population density was 3,320.2 people per square mile. There were 49,288 housing units at an average density of 1,493.6 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 86.1% white, 4.1% black or African American, 0.30% Native American, 3.7% Asian, 0.1% Pacific Islander, 3.1% from some other race, and 2.7% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 8.1% of the population. Non-Hispanic whites were 82.0% of the population, down from 98.0% in 1980. In 2011, the largest ancestry groups within the city's population were French and French-Canadian, Irish, English, German, and Italian. At the 2010 census, there were 45,766 households, out of which 26.4% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 38.4% were married couples living together, 13.1% had a female householder with no husband present, and 43.0% were non-families. 32.4% of all households were made up of individuals and 9.8% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.34 persons and the average family size was 2.99. In the city, the population was spread out with 21.6% under the age of 18, 10.2% from 18 to 24, 30.4% from 25 to 44, 26.0% from 45 to 64, and 11.8% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 36.0 years. For every 100 females there were 98.5 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 96.6 males. In 2011, the estimated median income for a household in the city was $51,082, and the median income for a family was $63,045. Male full-time workers had a median income of $43,583 versus $37,155 for females. The per capita income for the city was $26,131. 14.1% of the population and 9.6% of families were below the poverty line. Out of the total people living in poverty, 21.8% were under the age of 18 and 9.9% were 65 or older. Economy. Manchester is northern New England's largest city, and as of the 2014 U.S. Census population estimate was the most populous New England city north of Boston, including other Massachusetts cities. Its metropolitan area is one of the fastest growing in New England. Its economy has changed greatly, as Manchester was a textile mill town about 40 years ago. In March 2009, Kiplinger voted Manchester the second most tax-friendly city in America, after Anchorage, Alaska. Earlier in the year, CNN rated Manchester 13th in its 100 best places to live and launch a business in America. Manchester is the home of Segway, Inc., manufacturers of a two-wheeled, self-balancing electric vehicle invented by Dean Carman. Downtown Manchester's One City Hall Plaza stands 22 stories high, quickly followed by the all-black, 20-story Brady Sullivan Plaza, formerly known as the Hampshire Plaza. They are the tallest New England buildings north of Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Sullivan Plaza is shorter than City Hall Plaza by a mere 16 feet. Other major buildings include the 18-story Wall Street Apartments Tower, the 14-story, recently renamed Brady Sullivan Tower, which was the former New Hampshire Insurance Building, at 12 stories, the Radisson Hotel and Convention Center Manchester, the Carpenter Center, and the Hampshire Towers Condominium Building, the 10-story Citizens Bank Building, which was, for much of the early and mid-20th century, Manchester's iconic Amos Bank, skyscraper, and several high-rises of or exceeding 10 stories on the city's west side. This list only includes residential and commercial buildings and does not include hospitals, spires and domes, etc. The Verizon Wireless Arena has become the centerpiece of downtown Manchester. The venue can seat slightly less than 12,000 patrons for concerts, and at least 10,000 seat configurations for sporting and other forms of entertainment. The Verizon was formerly home to the Manchester Monarchs, the local AHL affiliate of the Los Angeles Kings. It has also hosted major recording artists and comedians, national touring theatrical productions, family-oriented shows, and fairs since it opened in 2001. The Northeast Delta Dental Stadium is a baseball park located on the Merrimack River in downtown Manchester and is home to the local AA baseball affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. The New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Historic Gill Stadium supported professional minor league baseball into the early 21st century and continues to be a viable and popular downtown venue for many sporting and entertainment events, seating nearly 4,000 patrons, depending on the event format. In recent years there has been continual redevelopment of the Amos Mill Yard and its residential historic district. The increasing popularity of downtown living has caused many properties originally built as tenement housing for mill workers in the 19th century to be converted to stylish, eclectic residential condominiums. Many new retail stores and higher education institutions, including the University of New Hampshire at Manchester, have been uniquely retrofitted into properties along Commercial and Canal Street. Shopping Manchester has three main retail areas: downtown Manchester, South Willow Street and 2nd Street. On the west side, the Mall of New Hampshire is located on South Willow Street, and, with more than 125 stores, is one of the largest shopping centers in southern New Hampshire and central New England. Arts and culture. Cultural landmarks include the historic Palace Theatre, the Currier Museum of Art, the New Hampshire Institute of Art, the Franco-American Center, the Manchester Historic Association Mill Yard Museum, the Massabesic Audubon Center, the Amos Fishways Learning and Visitors Center, the Lawrence L. Lee Scouting Museum and Max I. Silber Library, and the Sea Science Center. Valley Cemetery, the resting place of numerous prominent citizens since 1841, is an early example of a garden-style burial ground. The John F. Kennedy Memorial Coliseum is another, smaller venue located in downtown Manchester with a capacity of approximately 3,000 seats. It was completed in 1963, serves as home ice for the Manchester Central and Memorial High School hockey teams, and is home to the Southern New Hampshire Skating Club. The nickname, Manch Vegas, was derived from illegal gambling in local businesses during the late 1980s or early 1990s. Many pizza shops and local bars had video poker machines that would pay out real money. The nickname was coined following a citywide bust of these machines. It was then adopted as a lampoon of the city's limited entertainment opportunities. The term has since become a source of pride as the city's entertainment scene has grown. By 2003 it was well enough known that a note on virtualtourist.com said, "Residents reflect the regional dry humor by referring to sedate Manchester as Manch Vegas." By 2005, an article in Manchester's Hippo said that then Mayor Robert A. Baines is pushing to replace the nickname Manch Vegas with Manhattan. In 2009, the film Monsters, Marriage and Murder in Manch Vegas was released, referencing Manchester's popular nickname and using much of the city as its backdrop. Manchester has a growing collective of artists, due in large part to the influx of young students at the New Hampshire Institute of Art, Southern New Hampshire University, and the University of New Hampshire at Manchester. Slam Free or Die, New Hampshire's only weekly slam poetry venue, is located in Manchester and was voted best poetry venue in the world by readers of Write Bloody Publishing.